right, so this is my YouTube video on how to do an SAQ. SAQ stands for short answer question, and I'm going to go over two examples with you. They give you on the AP exam 4 short answer questions. You have to choose 3 of them. You must answer all parts of the question on a single piece of paper. You cannot write on the margins. You cannot write in the back. You have to write in blue or black ink. So those of you writing in pencil, you need to get over that. All right, so let's look at an SAQ. Now, I wrote these myself, but these are fairly accurate. So here's an SAQ, obviously on the French Revolution. And here are the 3 questions. So if you look at this, this is a guillotine. And it says, what was one cause of the effect? What was one cause of the event shown here? Okay. Now let me skip to the next slide. When you do a SAQ, there's multiple parts to the question. And what you should do is for every question they give you or part, you need to have at least a 3-sentence answer. So follow the T system. And the T stands for thesis. You need to answer the question with 1 sentence. Then you need to go over your answer and discuss the evidence that you've given. And then finally, you need to add a 3rd sentences of analysis. Now you can add extra sentences, but you need to make sure you do all this on the one side of the piece of paper. This is very frustrating because a lot of the times, and you're going to see a couple of examples here, the answer to the question is one word. It might be something big like enlightenment. So you can put this, the cause of this is the Enlightenment. That's your thesis. Evidence would be the Enlightenment is this time period where the principles, scientific principles discovered during the scientific revolution were applied to people. Okay, that's your evidence, and then you need to analyze that. And this idea that they could apply to people is part of why they came up with the idea that maybe there are rules that govern societal behavior, and this is when you have people like Thomas Jefferson writing the Declaration of Independence and John Locke. Notice I'm dropping some names in here. So even though the answer is enlightenment, just saying enlightenment is probably not going to give you the correct answer. So anyway, if you get an SAQ with 3 separate questions, you should give 3 sentences for each question. So 3 questions would net you at least a 9-sentence answer. The problem with a lot of 15-year-olds is they think like middle school students, write as little as possible. You should not do that. All right, so I'm not going to do 3 sentences for each one. I'm going to go over 2 SAQs with you. Here's the example I had. What was one cause of the event shown here? Well, the answer is the Enlightenment, like I just gave you. Remember, during the French Revolution, they wanted everyone to be equal, and so they decided to come up with a very humane way to kill people. So the guillotine was actually caused by the Enlightenment. If you said it was caused by the French Revolution, I do not think they'd give you credit for that. What was one effect of the events happening during this time period? Well, you could have put the Haitian Revolution happened because of the French Revolution. You could say for a time, people had more rights. The ideas of liberty spread. There's a lot of things you could put here. What was one reaction to the events occurring here? And this could be, I don't know, there's a bunch of things you could put here. The answer I would come up to would be the concept of conservatism. Let's stop this kind of thing from happening. This was actually liberalism here, caused by the Enlightenment. All right, so anyway, there's usually a couple of, sometimes there's a question like what's going on here, but usually one of your 2 or 3 questions on the SAQ is going to be something big picture. So at least for the next few weeks in my class, what is the chapter we're talking about? Which is it about imperialism? Is it about enlightenment? Is it the Industrial Revolution? Is it about socialism? What is the big picture? Okay, all right, so let me see here. There's one, and then here's the one I gave last week in class. It was only 2 parts. It says, meeting of the delegates and national representatives at the Congress of Vienna, 1815. Which preceding event led these leaders to have this meeting? What was the purpose of this meeting now? That's 2 questions, but it's really the same thing. If you put that this was all happened because of the French Revolution, you would get credit for it, but the actual answer is, at the tail end of the French Revolution, which gave a lot of people rights, Napoleon took over. And he went to war with half of Europe. And so the Congress of Vienna, I always tell kids, this is about putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. And so they're basically trying to go back and trying to reverse the effects of the Napoleonic Wars. So really, you could put French Revolution or you could put Napoleon. Now, B is the big picture question. Which philosophy or school of thought dominated this meeting? Well, this is all about, a lot of kids miss this, by the way. This is all about conservatism. They want to go back and put things back the way they were. How would you do that in 3 sentences? Okay, let me see. Which philosophy or school of thought dominated the meeting? Thesis. The philosophy that dominated this meeting was conservative. That's the thesis. Evidence. Conservative, oh my gosh, it's late and I can't speak English. Conservatism is the idea that change should be managed slowly. And basically, new ideas should come in slowly or not at all. And these people wanted to reverse the effects of liberalism caused by the Enlightenment. That's your evidence. Analysis. A good example of a conservative would be Metternich. In fact, this meeting was held in Metternich's villa. So he represents this entire age. It is known as the Age of Metternich. I hope this helped you understand how it is that you need to do an SAQ.